A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 14th March and let's see what we have got in the Hindu today. But before that, a talk on self-confidence. Self-confidence is the best outfit. Isn't it amazing statement? Self-confidence is the best outfit. Rock it and own it. The thing is that I'm sure you might have experienced this sort of thing that you are in a big hall crowded with people and someone enters in and most of the eyeballs are following that person. It is not because of that person's hairstyle or because of that person's clothes or outfit. It is how that person is carrying himself or herself. And this is what confidence is all about. And if you apply self-confidence, whatever you are doing, say fear is something that is going to be there forever. It is a constant thing. You have to accept it. Whatever you do, you will have a bit of fear, and it should be there as well because it basically lifts up, right? It keeps up alive and it keeps us ongoing and things like that. But with self-confidence, you can overcome that thing and then you can deliver a bit better results. The other thing is that a good news that self-confidence is not something that is natural. You can also improvise it. You can polish your confidence skill and bit by bit you will get there. With this, dear friends, we have many important items on our table today. The first one is about a modest protest, farmers protest that was going on in Maharashtra. Things are a bit okay now. So why it has got a name called a model protest, we'll go through it. The second one is about fire in the woods, fire in Tamil Nadu forest. I have a map for you. I have some facts as well for you guys, and we will go through it. What are the things that we can do to sort out these forest fires and how we can prevent these fatalities. This one, the French connection, one of the most important article in today's Hindu newspaper is this one. It is written by Rakesh Sood, who was a French Indian ambassador to France. So he's a diplomat. He has been there. What he is talking, he's giving basically many important details regarding the French connection or Indo-French relationship. This one is about an urgent prescription medicine, why we need public sector pharmaceutical companies to take a lead in this vacuums or gaps that we find. This one is about an interview of a member of parliament from Sri Lanka. He's here in India. And this one I will leave it on you guys. Very easy to understand. We have already talked about these clashes that were that happened here in Sri Lanka, in this Kandy district of Sri Lanka. So help yourself with this one. And this one is about research, why we need research, why it is important for investing in basic research. So that's what we have got on table. Very interesting items, and let's move on. But before that, let me tell you that you can download this PDF from my Facebook page as soon as you find this lecture on our YouTube channel. If you hit my Facebook page, you will find this file as well within 5-10 minutes max. So this is the easiest way to get it. The second step is Telegram channel, and the reason I repeat this thing every single day is because I find many inquiries on regular basis on my Facebook page, right? Students, they are asking me from where they can get this one. The thing is, you have to listen to the lecture regularly and follow it, right? Listening is a skill as well. The best thing that you can do is, I would reckon you guys, rather than listening in a loudspeaker, use your earphones and things like that, right? Or your earbuds or headphones, whatever, you can use them. So this will keep you away from distractions and things like that as well. So this is very important to understand that if you want to download this one, you have Telegram channel, you have our Facebook page, and the last option is our website as well. In download section you will find it. With this, dear friends, as you hit our website, you will find pen drive and tablet courses for various different exams, UPSC optional courses, you have defense exams, SSC, bank courses and state level exams, and much more, MCQs and everything designed by the best faculties of our country. So want to know more about it, check out StudyIQ.com. In case of queries, you have chat support as well as this numbers. You can feel free and give us a call. Now let's start our discussion with this a model protest. Now we talked about this thing. I provided you a picture as well. Remember that cartoon, that farmers protesting cartoon was provided to you yesterday. And these farmers, right, they marched. They started with like some hundreds and then they were in thousands. And the good thing about this protest, and this is the reason why this editorial is named as a model protest, without disrupting the lives of other citizens, right? This whole protest was carried out. Can you imagine this taking place in our country in recent time? Because what we have seen is that, see, this Padmavati protest or other protest, there are many other examples as well. We have seen destruction of public property. We have talked about it as well, that this is something that is not right. Protests used to take place before independence as well, but they were peaceful protests, and this is something that is in our gene as well, because the bigger picture, if we see the bigger picture, then we find that we won independence with this sort of peaceful protests. We talked about this Japanese example as well. Remember this, how they carry on making their shoes, rather than, if they are not happy with something, they will not create destructive things. And this is something, it looks very unique, or it looks very pleasant when we talk about Japan, but this is something other countries are learning from us, that the way we conducted our whole independence movement. But somewhere in line we lost these things, and many a times we know this politicians and other political vote winning games and being there in highlight and things like that. So many a times these leaders, they do these bhadkao bhashans, and they want their foot soldiers to do this disruptive activities and things like that. But it's good that this farmers, right, they marched very peacefully. They have not disturbed the peace of society, and they have refrained from aggressive sloganeering as well. The good thing about Mumbaikars, because what happens is that people living in Mumbai, I'm not saying that they don't know anything about villages, but many times, you know, they are living there for ages and ages, second generation, third generation. So they have never, you can say, many people in Mumbai, right? Because you find people from all parts of our country, and in fact world as well, living in Mumbai. So there are many people from the rural area, they are there in Mumbai, but as you can understand, socio-economic condition, they cannot take a day off, they have to work. So it's very hard for them, for us to find them in this sort of protests, right? Because they are there to feed themselves and their family. So they will, a person who is busy winning a bread, he won't take part in this sort of things. I'm not saying that only free people who are free do take that. These farmers are genuinely affected. But if you see Mumbaikars, right, we are talking about urban people. They are not in direct touch with this rural situation. But then as well, we saw that they were supplying food, they were providing food and water and medical aid and even footwear to all these farmers. So this is a very, very beautiful way of protest, right, in which we find people helping each other. And this is the thing that we need. And the government as well played very well. Government was all ears. That means government very peacefully listened to this issue or this demand, or why this farmers, or what are exactly the problems that farmers are facing and things like that. And now things are sorted out, right? And this way, if this is something, if this type of protests are being conducted in our country, then this is a very good model indeed. And 6 months deadline has been given, so hopefully within 6 months things will be sorted out. Everyone is happy, win-win situation for everyone. Government has enough time to work on these things. Some of items, right, some items or some demands will be sorted out ASAP, like little bit changes that you have to make, and if things can be done, then that will be done as soon as possible. But bigger demands will take 6 months time. So they have asked for a deadline, government, and the farmers have agreed as well. Now, a sad thing is this loan waiver thing. Now, a problem with loan waiver is that, first of all, in our country, small farmers, right, marginal and small farmers, they don't have any collateral. So because they don't have this collateral, what happens is it is the medium and large farmers who have access to this institutional loans from the banks and other government services or government funds. So the small farmers and marginal farmers, most of the time they have to rely on private money lenders. And when things are out of hand, or when things are very bad, the government will come out with this loan waiver thing. But at that point of time as well, farmers, medium and large farmers, they are the ones, because they have taken loan from the bank, so they have documents and everything. It is basically a formal loan, right, that will get this loan waiver or interest subvention. But if you have borrowed money from me, there is no contract. It is just a, you can say, a thing that is conducted in an informal environment, then no loan waiver will be applied. And the other thing is, so this is a thing that we have to work on. One more model that we have here is Telangana model. Remember we talked about this thing that in Telangana what government has started doing is that they are giving 4,000 rupees per acre, every farmer, right, all across the board. Just take 4,000, so you don't have to have this input cost, you don't have to do it from your pocket. And if you work on this model, then you find that rather than loan waiver, it is much cheaper than loan waiver, and rather than giving money post production, it is better to give them money now, so they can have this peacefully, they can do their business, and whenever they have good production, then they can sell it in the market. So this is a good model. This should be something that should be replicated, and more research can be done on this Telangana model. And this loan waiver thing, Urjit Patel also said last year, and many a times he has said this thing, that this is going to create a very bad culture, because what happens is that now many farmers, right, they take loan and then they think that there is no point of paying it back, because after a couple of years or during election time we will get this loan waiver. So this is creating a very bad culture. So that's everything about it. Agriculture is a very important topic, so I thought let me give you some extra details regarding. There is nothing extra, it is all part of our capacity building. Anyways, fire in the woods. This one is about this incident that took place in this Theni forest. The Theni forest is here. This is Theni district here. You can see it is sharing border with Kerala as well. And the thing is, this fires, right, this is not the first time we are seeing this thing. If you see our overall map, and I hope this is clear to you on your screen, just a second, here we go. As you can see here, forest fire, this red dots are forest fires taking place in different parts of our country. And here you can see this figure, the numbers, right, 15,937 forest fires in different parts of our country in 2015. Annually is roughly 450 crore, you can say 440 to 450 crore annual loss takes place because of forest fires. We don't have any calculation regarding animal species and other important flora and fauna that is lost, right, and 50% forests in India are vulnerable to fire. Why? What is the reason behind it? First of all, you have to understand geography. When you study geography and static subjects, right, then this is how you prepare. When you are up to date with current affairs, or when you are reading newspaper and following this lecture on a regular basis, apart from PIB and other things, and when you are studying your static portion, your geography, history and other things, then you should relate. Like when you are reading a chapter about forest, different types of forest, then you hear about this tropical deciduous forest. Now one unique thing about this or salient feature of this tropical deciduous forest is that you have a season of fall, isn't it? You have a season where all these trees, they will shed their leaves in one season. So what happens, or what means, if you see this forest, I'm sure you have seen this in National Geography and other channels, what you see, there is literally a carpet of leaves, dry leaves on the floor of this jungle, and it takes just one spark to ignite it. And this is one of the reasons why we see this sort of forest fires. Most of the fires are done by human errors, right? Many times people go out there for adventure, and what they do is they do this campfire and they never douse this campfire safely, and they leave that place, and then we find that it is a big fire over there. And so this is the thing, right? And January means February to June, this period is a season of fire, because it coincides with this fall season of fall. And residents in this area, they played a very important role. They were rescuing people and they were supporting and things like that. Something what we saw in this Mumbai case, how they helped them and things like that. Now we have technology. We are using this remote sensing technology, and ISRO is working on it. And we have our national, not ISRO, but National Aeronautics and Space Administration. This NASA is working with our national remote sensing centers, and of course, you know, ISRO plays a very important role in launching satellites and things like that. And now we have this technology that if there is any forest fire anywhere, then this forest department officials, they will get a text message right? Last year as well, this was reported. A year before that, in 2016 as well, there were many cases of this forest fires. As you can see, this happens every year. You can of course download this file and go through this, because you don't have to remember them, but just go through it and you can understand that this is a big thing. And then imagine, we are losing forest cover, at the same time it is adding millions and millions of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. We have this remote sensing capabilities. Things have improved a lot, and you get real time updates regarding if there is any forest fires or anything like that. Now of course what we have to do is that forest departments, they have to understand this thing. They have to stop these trekkers. Now you cannot, of course adventure is something that gives kick to many people like you and I, youngsters, and many people. They are enthusiasts. They love to step out of this urban concrete jungle, and they want to spend some time in this proper jungle, which is not bad as well. But trekkers have to organize themselves. They have to learn this new skills, what are the things, do's and don'ts in the forest, right? They have to carry right equipments and communication sets, like wireless communication sets. And forest department as well should ensure this sort of warnings on their website. We should have some you can say radio nearby this, radio frequency where information can be distributed and things like that. This can help a lot. So that's everything about it. Now moving on to very important article. This is about French connection. We'll get 5-10 minutes after it, because there are many important things here to discuss. Now we talked about this 1998's this strategic partnership. This is an era of inception of strategic partnership between India and France. And one more thing that I would like to highlight here is that, remember, it was in 1998 when we tried or tested our nuclear capabilities. So at that point of time, France is building a sort of a strategic partnership with India. Relationship between France and India are very cordial from ages. And in this last 2 decades, since we signed this strategic partnership, we have worked on many different diverse fields. You can see here: civil nuclear, defense, space, counterterrorism, education, research and development in science and technology, culture, urban development, climate change, trade and economics, people-to-people contacts. You can see this wide spectrum of our strategic partnership. Now, talking about defense cooperation, right? You won't believe this thing, but our defense cooperation dates back to 1950s. We have bought many important equipments from them. Mirage is a very famous one, and one more, Rafale, is a very famous one. Apart from that, we have been conducting this Varuna, that is a joint naval exercise with each other from 1983. In terms of space cooperation, a couple of days ago we were talking about this Tumpa Research Center, isn't it? Tumpa Launch Center. And at that point of time as well, we saw France helped us back in 1960s in developing our Sri Harikota launch site. Apart from that, they helped us with our liquid engine development and hosting of payloads as well. Today, relationship is more equal. ISRO is doing quite well. We are launching many French satellites from our country here. Apart from that, we are working on this joint missions for space situational awareness. Then we have high resolution Earth observation missions. We are also working on this interplanetary explorations and space transportation systems, and much more is on table between India and France when it comes to space technology. Both our ISRO and its counterpart, French counterpart, they are working together very well and developing many things as well. The other thing is, we were talking about this nuclear test, isn't it? Back in 1998, we declared ourselves as a nuclear power. We tested our nuclear bombs, and at that point of time, there were many countries out there. Like USA was very ballistic on us. It was very much against us, and after Cold War as well, France was a country that was openly saying that we cannot have this hyper power like USA. We cannot have just unipolar world where everything is done as per the wishes and whims and fancies of USA. There should be other powers as well. It should be more democratic decision when it comes to global issues and things like that. So France was a country that was open in this multipolar, it was supporting this multipolar view of the world, or multipolar world. It accepted India's situation. It was the first major country to open dialogue with India after this 1998 nuclear test. It displayed a great understanding, because France was knowing very well that on one side you have China, with which we had a war, and on the other side you have Pakistan, who is expanding its nuclear arsenal. And if India is staying there without nuclear weapon, then there are high chances that both these countries can, or either one of them can, attack us, or then you can have this permanent threat for them, and it will become very difficult for us to survive. So France was the country that recognized this situation of India, and it was the first P5. You know that it is a P5 country as well. United Nations Security Council's permanent member. So France is one of this P5 country, and it was the first one to say that this permanent seat needs an expansion, and India can become a very good permanent 5 member as well. So you can see France has always been there for us in terms of strategic dialogue, right? Cooperation in defense, civil, nuclear, space. Then we have intelligence sharing and counter-terrorism. Counter-terrorism, you know, it's a big thing now, because in countries, European countries, particularly France, we saw this Charlie Hebdo attack, and then we also saw in other NAF is a place in France, if I'm not making mistake here. Then, but we have seen many different attacks taking place in different European countries, and France, right, homegrown terrorists, this radicalization taking place online, and then French nationals, they are taking arms in their hands, and you know, this sort of things are going on. So it becomes very challenging for any security. These are basically sleeper cells, right, and they are, if they are not having any weapons in their hands, then nowadays they are using cars, and they're literally hitting people and things like that. So so we are working together. In 2005, we agreed to build the 6 Scorpion submarines. I told you about INS Calvary. It is out there in the waters. One more is in pipeline, and by 2021-2022, all the 6 Scorpion submarines will be out there, ready to serve our nation. We are developing it with the help of this the Scorpion submarine, right? We are developing with this help of France, and our joint exercise, Air Force exercise, dates back to 2003, and Army exercise 2011. When it comes to nuclear field power production, 6 reactors, and as French president was here, if we add news highlights, then we find that they have said that by the end of 2018, this year, construction or this whole process of building this power plant, nuclear power plant, will start at 9.6 gigawatt, the biggest in the world. 9.6 gigawatt is not a small amount. Then you have this counter-terrorism, we have talked about it, International Solar Alliance when it comes to climate change, or you can say energy security. Both these countries are working together. France is ready to supply technology to us as well. If you see countries like Germany, USA and other countries, they are not ready to, like Germany is ready to join International Solar Alliance, but it is not ready to give us technology. But France, if you compare it with France, then we find that they are ready to give us good technology as well in terms of solar capability, for solar in pertaining to this solar production, electricity production. Then regarding China as well, we know France is a stakeholder in Indian Ocean region. It is concerned about this China's assertiveness, or the way China is expanding itself in this Indian Ocean. Regarding reciprocal logistic support, it is considered as a golden step. Prime Minister termed it as a golden step, because we would be able to use each other's facility. Our armed forces will be able to use each other's facility. So this will give extra reach to both these countries, and then we can protect this Indian Ocean region. Trade between both the countries is not up to the mark. It can be, because as we have gone through so many important items, 10 billion is something that we are doing with Vietnam. We are not having this good relation with, means this spectrum is not this wide when you compare with Indo-French and Indo-Vietnamese relationship. So much can be done here. Our bilateral trade with Germany is more than what we have with France. So this is an area on which expansion is required. Business presence is quite good. We have L&T and other giants working here in our country. We have thousands of companies, Indian companies, working in France. So it's a good, you can say very good balance in business presence in each other's country. France has said, Emmanuel Macron has said that France wants India, or France wants India to consider France as an entry point for Europe. This has raised the ears of United Kingdom because of Brexit. And then you have smart cities. They are working in Chandigarh, Nagpur, Puducherry, and you have this focus on students as well. At present, we have only 2,500 Indian students going annually to France for higher education. If you compare it with Chinese students, then they are in lakhs or in thousands, not in lakhs, but definitely in thousands, 25,000, 30,000 or more than that. I forgot the right figure, but it is huge, right? Chinese students you find them in different parts of the world nowadays. They are number one when it comes to, I think we are followed by number 2 or 3. But they want more of Indian students visiting France and studying over there. So this is something, so we will find more French learning classes and things over here, and this helps in building human resource for both countries. Tourism, France is very famous for tourism. You know, Paris itself is a very beautiful as well as a very famous tourist place, and we have seen it in many Indian films as well. No doubt Paris Eiffel Tower is an icon in itself. And when we compare tourism numbers with India's and France tourism numbers, then we feel that we are missing here, because the thing is, France receives 80 million tourists a year and India receives just 9. Remember, we are a big country. We have many different places, huge potential here, so we can learn many things from France. And we have set a bilateral target that 1 million Indian tourists will visit France by the end of 2020, and 335,000 French tourists. So this is not a small amount when you see the population of France. With this, moving on to another article. I hope this Indo-French connection is clear to you now. Now moving on to another article. This is about an urgent prescription. We talked about this compulsory licensing. Remember a couple of days ago it was about this tuberculosis medicine and why we are not finding it. And you have this foreign companies, they are not allowing us, our private players, to get this license. But you have this mechanism here. And we have to remember this thing that India is, see, many times we find this news items. Yesterday I provided you a picture on TB, and there was a big program. Prime Minister launched this TB mission, and you know, it was already out there, but now we have become a bit more aggressive in fighting TB. So Prime Minister was talking about this thing, and one issue that we face in our country is lack of medicine. Now imagine this is taking place in a country that is considered as a pharmacy of the world. So this is happening because we have private players. This whole pharmacy area or sector is dominated, industry is dominated by private players. Now their motive is profit, of course, and there is nothing wrong with it as well. But public sector, the presence of public companies like government companies producing medicines, now they have diminished, and now they are nearly nil. We don't have that many public sector companies now. And we need public sector companies, of course, for welfare of the people, because here the main motive, public sector company works for the welfare of the people. Now the thing is, we have this compulsory licensing. If you are new to this discussion, let me read it out for you and explain it to you. For regular students, it's going to be a revision. So compulsory licensing is a mechanism permitted by the trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. This year so far we have seen this thing, if I'm not making mistake, then 3 times in the Hindu, right? For 2 times for sure, but I think 3 times we have seen this thing, and there are high chances that you may find an MCQ question on this thing. So remember, this compulsory licensing is a mechanism permitted by the trade related aspects of intellectual property rights agreement to enable countries to issue licenses to domestic drug manufacturers to produce and market affordable generic medicine. It is pertaining to this generic medicine. You get a compulsory licensing and under this TRIPS. So just in case if you have to produce this medicines, generic medicines, life-saving drugs, which are pertaining to, or they are produced to meet these public health challenges, then you are allowed to do this. So this allows countries to overcome patent restrictions. There are many medicines, and most of the medicines you have this patent restriction. So if I have done some research right? I have spent millions and millions of rupees or dollars after this research. I have paid to the scientists and facilities and everything, and then I come up with a drug. I find a drug called XYZ. Now imagine next day you start copying this XYZ, so I won't be making money, isn't it? So you are given like 10-15 years time so you can make money, and later on other people can use this patent and or this license, and you will get some royalty out of this as well. I hope this is enough for this background information. But what about something that is very serious like Ebola? I have a medicine. USA, say for example, I'm USA, I have this medicine to fight Ebola, and now you find Ebola in this this different Atlantic this African countries sharing border with Atlantic Ocean, right? This Benin and this Sierra Leone and all these countries. So if they are fighting, or if there is a sudden outbreak of Ebola, then I cannot say that you have to take patent and things like that, right? And these are some emergency windows provided to sort out this sort of problems. Now India, we have used this CL route in the past as well, when the question was about cancer medicines. We have done this thing, and now we find many diseases like TB is a big thing. If you go through yesterday's program, if you go through and in a couple of days we will find things pertaining to TB, because it is a big thing. You know, we talked about this thing that every day in our country we find nearly 1200 people that die because of TB. So it is the biggest killer in our country, and what we find here in our country is shortage of medicine. So we are talking about this Ayushman Bharat as well, and if we want effective implementation of Ayushman Bharat, if we want to get rid of this TB and other diseases, then it is important that we encourage, or the government comes up with this public sector pharmaceutical companies. They can use this CL under this TRIPS, which is allowed under WTO, and only then we would be able to achieve or eliminate these diseases. This one is about this first, the basic science. Now you find many a times that people are saying that there is no point of launching this satellites. It is better to focus on ground realities like ground diseases and things like that. But this is not a right logical argument, right? You cannot cap this capacity or potential of scientists in our country. There are many things, like many human health related things have been invented when they were working on this space and other things. Like there is a stent called Kalam and something called stent, in which Abdul Kalam's contribution is there in this stent that we find for veins and things like that. Anyways, so UNESCO Institute of Statistics says that India spends just 0.8% of GDP on research and development, and we are supporting just 156 researchers per million. Out of 10 lakh, you have 156 researchers. We talked about this thing. I told you about South Korea. Remember rags to riches story, that South Korea, it is spending somewhere around 3% or something of its GDP in research and development, and because of that they are making huge amount of money as well, and things are going very well over there. If you see China, then China is at present investing somewhere around 2%, and it is supporting 1000 plus researchers out of per million people, and it is somewhere around at par when it comes to spending, right? 2.9 is done by Germany, USA 2.8, and they are supporting 4000 plus people. So we have many problems in our country, right? Like energy, growth requirement, and food and other things. But research is a thing. USA has always supported research, and this is one of the reasons why it is dominating country around the world. Even during their worst recession, right? They will cut down on other items, but they will never cut down on research and development. Something that we should learn from them. Depression is being formed in Arabian Sea, and this is going to bring showers in Kerala and Lakshadweep and other parts of Tamil Nadu. Here you can see showers have already started. Other link deadline is extended. Here are some other details about it. Now we are beaten by the clock, so I'm being very quick. You can of course go through it. These are news items. You have to read them entirely in the Hindu newspaper, so make sure I'm just highlighting important bits and pieces here. Frequent visits by foreign lawyers is something that is not allowed. If they are here for a very short period or casual visit, then yes, that they cannot take part in this thing. You find some couple of reports in a national page of Hindu as well. Now President Trump fires Rex Tillerson. Rex Tillerson, remember, he's a very important person. He was ExxonMobil chief and he was having very good relationship with Russia at that point of time. He was looking after this whole, he was this chief of this relationship and defense and things like that, secretary basically he was, but now he is sacked. And it is believed, you find in Iran deal, there are personal Bob's cases as well, in North Korea case as well. You find many a times that Trump and his views together, these two players that you can see on your screen, right, their views were clashing with each other. Maoists have killed CRPF personnel, right, 9 have been martyred, and this is a sad scenario. I pray for the departed soul, as well as I pray for their family members. This sort of violence is not good for anyone, no doubt. We will find some more articles on this thing. Rare meteorite could give us a clue on life. We found them in Assam and Rajasthan. Then PNB scam could be bigger than what we are thinking at present. Big dams, a very important statement coming from Gadkari Sahab. He is saying that big dams only benefit big contractors. For farmers, we need small check dams and barrages and other small dams. And he talked about this Krishi Sichai Yojana as well. And then you have this last item, that is CAG flags railway Parlo's finances. That means we have to sort out this rates, passenger fares and freight charges and other things to cover this cost, or else we would be in a big red situation. Now, I saw a comment yesterday. It was a doubt regarding e-way bill, so I thought let me address it. Now, the thing is, it's not Inspector, of course, a sort of Inspector Raj. We are not going to see this entry points, right, that we used to have before GST. So we are not going to see that. What we are going to see is that you will have some tax authorities. They will be in their cars and they can stop a truck anywhere on the highway. So it's not that if you are entering, say for example, Gujarat from Maharashtra, so you won't find a sort of check post here, right? So I hope this thing is clear. It is just a sort of a sudden surprise checkup that can be done by this tax authorities to ensure that whether this e-way bill is followed or not. So that's everything regarding it. These are your 2 questions. Now the thing is, I also saw this comment that some of you want me to spend more time in questions. The thing is, you can read them, right? So there is no point of me in dictating or reading them loud. Please help yourself with it. Think about it and spend good quality time after it, right? Because you are going to face your prelims in near future. So that's it, and that's everything that I have got here. Make sure you share this lecture with other people as well. Please give us your like. If you're learning something out of it, then please, it's a courtesy. It's a way of expressing that yes, you have learned something. It will motivate me. It does motivate me every day when I see your positive comments. It's not that I'm not taking criticism. Yes, I do take criticism as well, as far as it is constructive and not associated with hate. But most of the times things are alright. Now we are used to with each other. We're learning and sharing many things. So make sure you share it with other people as well. It will help them. Pass your valuable comments as well, your answers. And I will see you all soon. Enjoy your studies. Have a nice day. God bless you all. Jai Hind.